All right, welcome. We're checking out the Orchestral Tools Igudesman solo violin today. This is a very unique violin, a very unique solo violin. I haven't really heard anything like it. It's got some gypsy flavors, but it definitely goes into sound design territory as well. I'm going to start with the rhythms here. These are at 120. And you can set up control. You've got 3 dynamic layers. And you can set up a control to move between kind of a regular pattern and an octave. You've also got some sort of unpitched ones. We've got another pattern at 152 BPM. I'll go ahead and change the tempo. These patterns are great, and I'll definitely be using them a lot. Let's move on to the Percussive Unpitched. This is where it gets really into sound design territory. It's fascinating to hear how far they went into just really unusual and interesting sounds. I think I'm going to start up here at the glissando effects. By the way, our mixer there was at spot 1 and tree. So it's got all the 4 strings at the bottom of the screen. And these have 5 round robins. These have 5 round robins and 3 dynamic layers. So there's tons to choose from. Tons of these to choose from. Then we go down to this scratch arpeggio. Seagulls sustains. And these actually respond to pitch bend. I think pretty much this whole patch will respond to pitch bend. Not that you necessarily need it for the seagulls, but you've got all these different repetitions, very fast. And then you've got just fast. Just some repetition. And we can listen to the different mics for a second. Let's just check out what the AB mic sounds like for that. Quadruples. And the close mic sounds like this. The spot 1. There's 3 spots. I haven't downloaded all of the mics yet. If we go to triples, doubles, and then these chops are great. This is super sound design territory. We'll add some tree back in. These close mics get really close. Staccato chop, just one of those. And then a swish. That was the short, here's the medium. long. And then the scratch. And the marcato scratch. These are just hilarious. Some of these are quacking ducks. They're awesome. All right, now we've got, we'll do neo-electric next, and we'll do standard articulations last. I'm going to actually start with the sustained soft neo-electric, and I'm going to start with the mixer on just spot mix down. And you'll notice they're all having a similar kind of scoop in the attack of the note. We'll switch over to pitch again, to tree again. So you'd want to mix it up with things like these marcatos. And these are not actually electric anything. This is an acoustic sound that just sort of sounds electric. We've got these cool little gliss up staccatos. A lot of variation there. How many round robins are we looking at? 2. One. And then we've got licks. This is something that I'd be careful with because it's so distinctive. It's so characteristic. It's its own little composition. And it kind of loops, I think, after that. And that's distinct from the system. But these licks are kind of similar on each key, so I think once you use them, I'm a little hesitant to use them too many. And I get that little bit of anxiousness about, if someone else uses it and they're, more famous or they did it first, that I wouldn't really, putting that into one of my pieces only because it's so characteristic. It could be fingerprinted as an audio signal, and then mine would get flagged as, a copy of it. But the standards and the sustains and the marcatos and the staccatos are really great. And you could also move into the second half of those licks and just use the second half of the lick as an alternative to. Now, wrapping up, we've got a ton of standard articulations. We're going to start with the rapid legato gitano. I think they kind of named it that so that you didn't get the impression that it was just a regular legato. So for this rapid legato gitano, there's basically 2 dynamic levels, and you control them with the mod wheel. The attacks on the lower level are generally much softer, and the attacks on the higher level are generally much higher, more aggressive. Just listening to the attacks of the notes. And then the transitions, I believe, are going to be different for each of them, but the one thing that I've noticed is that you can hear kind of a 2 violins sound occasionally, which I don't think would bother me because I might be using these with delays and reverbs anyway, just to give it a little bit of an effect as a lead instrument. Now the slurred legato gitano is fairly different. That's the lower level. So let me make sure I get the higher level here. I really like the way it moves across the dynamic layers with the controller, with the mod wheel. It's not kind of the perfect, but the instrument is so idiosyncratic that you kind of give it some leeway. You know, right there I can hear that. But, you know, you've got to make some compromises when you've got such an idiosyncratic sound. Unless you're going to hire Igudesman. That's the slurred. And then we've got these sustains, so you can do polyphonic. But the bow is going to run out. Now the bow endings, I actually like the bow endings. So here's just a regular one bow from the beginning to the end. And they've got that really nice end. To get an end, I find I can't always get that nice, really clean end of a phrase in the middle of a phrase before it's supposed to get there. So I bring it usually to the top of the mod wheel, let it establish, and then let go of the key. And that's about as close as I can get. And then I'd have to probably compensate with some volume down. But it doesn't quite have the same feeling as if you just let it end. You know, you really hear those release, they're not release samples, they are the release of the bow. They sound so much nicer. I might even go in and try to edit in an audio if I really wanted that sound. Now our sustains accented. Kind of skip the sustain soft here. Really amazing high range. Let's go up to the marcato long. And that was one pitch. Yeah, it was. So that's I'm holding down one key. The other round robin. So you'll even get some of those other strings almost like a real player. So those are those marcato longs, accented. Where are we in the key switches here? G sharp, marcato long gitano, swell. Interesting. This is where the articulation switching is really going to help with your writing. Put a couple of these shorts in with some of those longer ones. The pizzicato buttons are really amazing. They kind of go back and forth between a banjo and like a hammered dulcimer sound. Right? Very unusual. Now these have this little slide up. Pretty cool. A Bartok pizzicato up. These sustains with this drill. And that is the Igudesman solo violin from Orchestral Tools. Thanks for joining me. This was a really quick walkthrough. And if you've got any questions, put them down in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. All right, take care. Cheers. Bye-bye.